Elizabeth Thorstad from DNVGL is joining us now here on Can I Media. Elizabeth, you're one of the keynote speakers here. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about your speech today.
I was speaking about sustainability, the role that energy plays in a sustainable future, the need for an energy portfolio to create a sustainable future. There's not one energy source that will bring us there, and how to manage our risks in that perspective.
Well, tell us about the risks. Here in Alberta, people are concerned about risks because we've been talking about a couple of major pipelines, and there's been a couple of train accidents recently as well. When it comes to risk management, what do you think the role of the industry is?
And that's a very good point. First of all, I'd like to say that all energy sources we have today have risks. They might be economical, environmental, societal. They're all risky in a way. They also all have their rewards, and that's what we need to balance. I think that one of the things we sometimes tend to forget when we talk about energy sources is the whole value chain. And your examples on both pipelines and trains is an element of that, because it doesn't help that we can produce the energy in a safe and sustainable manner if we cannot bring it to the market in a safe and sustainable manner. So the risk assessments needs to cover the whole value chain. And in a changing energy environment, the value chain is changing as well, right? So we see the need for new pipelines, we see the need for new transmission, we see the need for energy storage, and all of those elements will be very dynamic in the years to come.
The thing about risk management is that often there's an acceptable level of risk, acknowledging that something might go wrong. Is that just the nature of the industry?
It's the nature of risk management. I mean, it's the nature of nature that some things will go wrong in a way. And we need to accept that, because there's a limit to how much we can control negative impact. That there's no zero risk. We're all going to die one day, right? But we need to control it. What we need to do in a risk management perspective is to set those functional targets, to say we will not accept a risk that's higher than that. We'll not accept an impact to our environment on that scale. And we need to set those functional requirements. And then we need to allow for policy and technology and improvements in business to deliver on that without setting real strict requirements that doesn't allow for progress. So we need to have progress and functional requirements at the same time. And that's one of the things that risk management helps you with.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about sustainability then. Things have changed a lot in the industry, and one of the speakers with you today said he can't even imagine where things are going in the next 50 years. How big a role is sustainability coming into this, and what does it mean to you?
To me, sustainability is, in a way, the only way we can move forward if we don't have that view in mind. And again, sustainability to me is back to sort of the common definition of taking care of society, environment, and economy. And you need all of those to be able to make a case for sustainability. And it should be reflected in everything we do. I think one of the big tensions we have in industry and in making decisions is the short-term impact and the long-term impact, in particular on all of three areas. Actually, you have that conflict between them. And while we can all see a long-term solution on sustainability, it's probably not what we're envisioning today that's going to happen, which is back to this 50 years. We need to make decisions that moves us in that direction every day, since we don't know the exact picture in 50 years.
Another thing you talked about today was transparency, and I imagine that's to let the public know what's going on and what your desires and directions are.
It is, and I represent a company that does a lot to add transparency to what business is doing and to help industry in translating their work into transparent framework that the public can understand. There's another element of transparency, and that's between regulators and authority and industry and the public, of course. So regulators need to have transparency. Provides trust. If you start with transparency and start with an open map of how you're managing your risks, people can trust you. And you can invite for open dialogue about what are you doing with this specific element. If you start with non-transparency, you'll be cornered, it is in my opinion. And I see business continuously moving towards that larger transparency and the understanding of the need for communication.
It's interesting because I've been to a lot of forums and people talk about transparency and getting the word out to the public about the good things that the oil industry is doing. Do you feel you're succeeding in that area?
I feel so. I still feel that in some of the communication today, to be honest, there is a gap between the project decisions that are also based on sustainable elements and taking sustainability into account, and some of the efforts that are done on sustainability sort of outside of core business. And it's easier to talk about what are we doing for rainforest in another continent where you're not having oil exploration. It's easier to talk about what you're doing for schools and all of those initiatives are extremely valuable. But it's also important that industry talks about how are we implementing this in our daily decisions? How does the need to not make environmental damage influence what we do on a daily basis? Because they do a lot of good things, and it's really good to see that, and it's so much to be proud about actually that we can talk about.
Elizabeth, thank you very much.
Thank you.